I don't know that this is the time, but all right. Oh, come on. There we go. Are you hearing the music?
Oh, now I hear it. Sorry.
Oh. We'll try again.
I missed the cue.
That's okay.
Hey, I'm Ben Silverio.
And I'm Ansel Burch.
And it's time to party.
We are not doctors. We don't give medical advice. Please drink eggnog responsibly.
Dun, 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 dun. Yeah. Bringing out the Christmas jams this month.
Yeah.
That is right.
Wenceslas.
Ooh. What do you know about that guy, Ansel?
Apparently like going on walks in the snow. That's about all I got.
Oh, okay. I thought for whatever reason you would have had like some big long story about him.
It does seem like the sort of thing I would have a big story about. I feel like there is a good story I remember about Good King Wenceslas, and I don't now.
Could you imagine the different nicknames that he got as a kid? Because
Piece of shit Wenceslas. Weird name Wenceslas.
Or maybe they just called him Wentz. He was like the modern
Prince Wentz.
There you go. He was the Pete Wentz of his time. He had like a trendy haircut and a cool band. He had to have known some bards, right?
Oh, I mean, probably.
Party people, welcome back to Time to Party. This month, instead of our usual time travel shenanigans, we are bringing back the Time to Christmas Party celebration, wherein we share some of our favorite holiday movies with you. Well, movies, TV shows, whatever, really. As a gift, for putting up with our bullshit the rest of the year. But thanks for that. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah. We appreciate it. We love having you.
Today we got party favors and Christmas gifts.
Correct. There's a lot that we can get into today. We'll see if we do. But you know how Christmas parties are. You're mingling, you're having small conversations with a bunch of different people. So, we won't keep you too long. We're going to send you back to the party.
Little snips and snaps and stuff. But it is worth saying that if you are trying to avoid your family members or that random person, we sound kind of like a phone call. If you need a noise to like play through your phone to pretend as though you don't have the time to talk to them.
Absolutely.
So just a tip.
We are happy to help in any way we can.
Yeah. Your friends Ansel and Ben need to talk to you right now.
Exactly. That's a great use of a podcast. I think more podcasts should offer that service. I think we're pioneers in this.
Exactly.
We're going to start the trend.
Put that on the packet.
Yes. Speaking of trends, our first holiday movie, because it is a movie.
It is TV film length.
Yes.
It was apparently longer at one time.
It was before all of the licensing thingies. Oops. But yes, we are going to kick off the holiday season here at Time to Party with a Muppet Family Christmas. This is without a doubt one of my favorite holiday traditions that I have with myself.
Really?
I watch this every Christmas Day, like when I'm getting ready for like whatever we're doing, I just, it just, you can't not be in the holiday mood with this on.
No, nothing says Christmas like Muppets.
Absolutely. Yeah,
I'll be honest. This was not one of my Muppet Christmases.
Oh.
I'm a Muppet Christmas Carol boy. But this, I don't know that I've seen it more than a few times. But boy, that it still hits.
Yes,
it still hits
100%. Because this movie, I feel like, really encompasses a few things that I'm just famously known to love. In addition to the Muppets, I love a crossover. I love family gatherings. I love a big party. I love a play. I love a sing along.
Yeah,
and you get all of that here. In case you don't know what we're talking about, our good friends at IMDb describe it thusly: Fozzie Bear surprises his mother on Christmas Eve by bringing the entire Muppet gang to her farm to celebrate the holidays. This was a TV special that originally aired, I want to say, on ABC. Yes, it was ABC on December 16th, 1987. This is one of the few times that all of the properties under the Muppet umbrella, meaning the Muppet Show, Sesame Street, Fraggle Rock, and Muppet Babies, were all together in one thing.
What a get to have the Muppet Babies in physical form.
It's true. That show, I used to love that show. I thought it was fun.
Same.
They had a killer theme song too.
They really
Muppet
did.
Babies.
Something.
Oh man. Okay, so let's start here. One of my notes here, and I thought it was funny that I even had to rewatch this to take notes, because I've seen this so many times that I think I don't need to rewatch it in order to talk about it. No, I enjoyed rewatching it. That was, of course, I'm gonna find any excuse to rewatch this.
Got to, yeah.
But Doc was doing Airbnb before it was a thing,
right? I wondered that too. I was like, man, how did they get hooked up?
Yeah, right.
Was there because she's not a B&B normally, although I guess maybe she is.
Maybe she put an ad in the
got
paper
a big enough
or something,
house.
but
maybe she just has people all the time.
It's true. I mean, that's possible, because it's in 1987, were people putting these kinds of ads out there for people? Hey, come stay at my house. It's not creepy.
I mean, there were listings for bed and breakfasts that you could get on, and if I think it was usually through your local chamber of commerce or something. I think.
Look at that, the government being helpful.
Yeah, right.
Must have been nice,
because the whole thing. Yeah, man, it was a halcyon time. But bed and breakfasts have been a thing forever. But I think a lot of times you just had to kind of go to the town and know where it was. Mm-hmm. And otherwise, if you were coming from out of town, somebody from town had to tell you, oh yeah, there's bed and breakfast over there.
Because it's like the holiday, right? Inn. At least they had a website to connect them. This is very, very analog.
Yes. Well, and they had clearly been in contact previously. I guess my closest connection to this is when Tab and I went to Ireland. Mm-hmm. Not to travel flex, but there's a tiny island off the west coast of Ireland called Clare Island, which is where Grace O'Malley is from. And when I wanted to stay on Clare Island, none of the B&Bs had proper websites or anything. So you had to go to the island's website. The island itself had a website, and it was okay, here are the 4 places to stay. One of them was very posh and I could have booked, but it was more expensive. But the other ones were just a phone number. So it was okay, stay at this guest house.
Wait,
call Marie.
So the other ones were Sporty, Scary, Ginger, and
yes, we stayed with Ginger.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Mary was her real name, And yeah, I just called Mary on a random Tuesday, and I was like, "Hey, Mary, are you free on this day?" And because I called Mary personally, because of this like, lo-fi way of doing it, we got all the hot goss about the island. Like it was great. It was lovely. But yeah, because like there was a whole thing where like the island was basically shut down the day after we were staying there.
Oh
We
wow.
wanted to stay there for 2 days, and she was like, "No, you can't do the next day because there's a wedding in town. And it's a local girl and this boy from the mainland, and there's all kinds of."
I'm surprised they didn't invite you to stay.
I was. Wouldn't that have been glorious to
What
get
an
to stay in
adventure.
town for right? Little Irish island wedding. Hell yeah. I'll pay extra.
You should have just said you were a long lost cousin.
Yeah, I'm from. I know her. Her name was.
No way! She's getting married?
Ellen.
Really? She
What a
stuck it out with him?
coincidence.
Oh
Only
man.
I thought to do that. But yeah. So yeah, I mean that's gotta be how they did that. Someone who was alive in the 80s is gonna send us a message about this.
You young whippersnappers.
Yeah. It wasn't the Dark Ages. We had phone books. Oh, phone books.
Oh, duh.
Phone books.
I also want to know where Mrs. Bear's farm is. Because if it's close enough
Right?
that Fozzie and the gang could drive from Hollywood, like it can't be that far from the West Coast.
I mean, think about how long it took Miss Piggy to get to the farm after having been delayed. She left when it was dark.
Yeah.
So, like, it can't be that far. I mean, she's got to be in what, like NorCal? Maybe the mountains. Maybe she's just in the mountains.
What if she's in Oregon?
I mean, Oregon would be, depending on traffic, maybe.
Because I mean, like a rustic farmhouse getting caught in a blizzard sounds like an Oregon thing.
I mean,
as opposed to a North California thing.
Well, keep in mind this was before Napa was Napa.
Oh, that's true too. That's a good point. I would love to have someone who worked on this, like the writer or one of the producers. Just please come and talk to me about a Muppet Family Christmas. If I ever get to talk to Frank Oz, can I just ask him about this entire thing? Mr. Oz, why was Miss Piggy secluded for most of this special?
Yeah, was there like a scheduling conflict, or
was he too busy being Yoda?
I mean, the timeline does check out,
right? Because he would have been doing the last one.
Well, it was released this year, so
that's true.
He'd have done all of his work.
Okay.
Depending on when the production schedule was for Muppet Family Christmas.
Yeah.
Muppet movies do take a while to make.
It's true. Oh my gosh. Because they have to make all of their sets with the Muppet performers in mind. So everything is like on a platform so that the Muppets are at like normal height.
Yep. Yeah.
When I got to, here's my flex. When I got to do the press junket for the Muppet Mayhem.
That's so cool.
Yeah. I was talking to Bill Beretta and Anders Holm and Taj Mowry and like the creators of the show. And, they were all talking about, and Lily Singh, the star.
Sure.
The human star, because the star.
Yes, the human star.
The stars are the Electric Mayhem. Yeah. But
Dr. Teeth.
Of course. He's totally the star of that show. But yeah, they were talking about how difficult it was for the platforms, because like sometimes they would trip and fall into the Muppet hole, and like the
I just love the phrase Muppet hole.
They didn't call it that. I just called it that right now, and I think that's what they should be called.
Oh, may we all be so fortunate as to fall into a Muppet
Just
hole.
a comical, like, Kermit arm flailing when they fall. But one thing
It's like that patch of ice.
it's like the patch of ice, which we will get to. But one of my favorite things about Electric Mayhem and the Muppet Mayhem, at D23, I got to see their van.
Oh,
So like I got up close and personal seeing the alterations that they had to make for the Muppet performers. And it's like, yeah, of course this is how they do it. But it's like you're not thinking about that when you're watching it. You're just like, oh yeah, Dr. Teeth's just driving.
yeah.
What's the it's like a regular car.
Why would I question that?
But like
This is Dr. Teeth. That's his car.
but have you
Ergo.
ever looked into how Kermit and Fozzie were driving in the Muppet movie?
I just assumed that the people who assisted them, I don't know how much kayfabe we're keeping here. I just assumed that the car was on a, like a flatbed. And
So to
I'm
my
guessing I'm wrong.
understanding, the driver was in the trunk and the Muppeteers were lying down on the floor of the car with their hands, on the wheels and stuff. And like the positions
so
that
they rigged that car to actually drive?
I believe so, yes.
That's bananas.
I really hope I'm right because I'm just recalling this from my memory from all the reading about it. And if I'm wrong, I'm sorry. Please tell me if I'm wrong. Honestly, we could just look it up on the internet probably, but
I'm doing it as we talk.
Oh, are you?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but one thing I do know for sure that for Rainbow Connection, that Jim Henson was basically in like a pod underwater, like squeezed in under the log that Kermit was sitting on in order to operate him for that number. And he was just in the lake for like a day to get this whole thing shot. And I'm just like, Jim, you commitment to the bit.
That's incredible.
Yeah. Like Bill Beretta told me that story. And it's just because we were talking about how difficult it is to be a Muppet performer sometimes. But like it's hard to top Jim,
Yeah, I mean, it's Jim. What a legend.
Oh my God. Speaking of
Did you have the opportunity to see the Muppet exhibit that we had at MSI?
Oh God, I did not,
ago?
and I was so disappointed that I couldn't go.
Jim's legacy is incredible.
Oh yeah.
But to know how, like, at first almost ass backwards and then very suddenly with incredible direction Jim Henson moved is just incredible. Because he started off making commercials.
Yeah.
And then he was like, oh, I mean, sure, 30 seconds. That's a shitload of time. I can do all kinds of things in 30 seconds. And then he was like, you know who's got a 30-second attention span? Kids. All right.
There's so many things. We could spend the entire episode just talking about Jim Henson's legacy. But
we could. We shouldn't, but we could.
Did you know that the Jim Henson lot was up for sale?
I did not.
So one of the early reports was that the Church of Scientology was going to buy the lot.
Oh, hell no.
Yeah. Back in October, that seemed to be a prevailing report. However, and thankfully,
I was going to say, but there's been good news since then.
There has been good news since. At least it's much better than that. John Mayer and Mick G, the filmmaker, John Mayer, the musician, they were part of a team that threw in money to buy the Jim Henson lot. So, a little bit of Hollywood history. Before Kermit and everybody moved in, the Henson lot was Charlie Chaplin Studios. So
Hmm.
it is steeped in film history, right? And of course, after Charlie Chaplin made way for the Muppets, it also included a world renowned music studio. Um, and like, oh, my friend used to work there, and the people that he would see coming in and out of the studio was just insanity. Like,
Okay.
Blink 182, Justin Bieber, Coheed and Cambria. Like, I know I'm just naming like newer bands, but there was a ton of bands that would come through the Foo Fighters. Just a lot of. I'm sure if you could name a band, they probably passed through that studio.
Sure.
But like the lot
And yet
itself,
another Dave Grohl Muppet connection.
I
So,
mean, that's
like, I'm
true.
here for
Yes,
that.
correct. But you know, like things like the Adventures of Superman and Perry Mason shot on that lot. Like the
Oh,
Henson Creature Shop was there for a very long time. To hear that it may or may not have been bought by the Church of Scientology was very troubling. But
yeah.
I haven't heard what their plans are for it. Uh, but I like to think that John Mayer and McGee would leave things largely unchanged. You know,
I
I'm
mean, or
also not
capitalize on it.
exactly because, like, as far as I know, I don't think Henson is leaving the lot. You know, I don't know if they're
Oh,
actually.
interesting.
I don't know if they're like if they just put it up for sale, you know, to have new landlords or whatever. But I don't know all of the details like that. But I'd like to hope that both Mayer and McGee are reverent enough to the legacy of that place to keep things largely intact. But we'll see, you know.
Yeah.
Um
Interesting.
uh and if they don't, I'm so glad to have been able to visit it a couple times. It's such a magical place to like walk where the Henson family, you know, because not only is Jim uh a revolutionary, his
Mm.
son Brian, you know,
Oh, yeah.
like the entire family have done a ton for the Muppets, for entertainment, for everything, you know.
Yeah.
But like, uh, it's funny. Last time I was on the lot, I went to one of Brian Henson's Puppet Up shows, which is like improv
Right.
with Muppets. It's very fun, and the sound stage that they do it on is super cool. Um, yeah, it would suck if all of that went away to make
Well, and
way for the
they've
Church of
recently
Scientology.
invested. Yeah. Oh, Jesus. Yeah. But they've recently invested so much in drawing people to that space. I've got to feel like they had plans to remain there, even if the lot's ownership changed hands.
Yeah, exactly. I wonder what those details are. Maybe we'll get into that, you know, maybe those details will be revealed soon enough, but all I know is I mean, I don't even know for sure if it's going to stay the way it is, but for now,
Yeah.
it's still the landmark on La Brea that we've all come to know and love.
Aw.
But back to Muppet Family Christmas.
Yeah. Let's talk about the show.
Well, you know, it ties back in because now John Mayer and McGee are part of the family, right? So
Yeah. 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 And
this
what's his family more than Muppets? Uh, I gotta say, it was so cool to get back into this particular piece of holiday nostalgia because I had forgotten a lot of details, and it was just lovely to be re-immersed into Muppet Family Christmas. And and the Fraggles, and I don't know. I think for an 80s kid, like, you can't do a whole lot better than a show that includes the Fraggles, the Muppet Babies, the Sesame Street Muppets, and the main Muppets. Like, that's some nostalgia cocaine right there. Just keep it coming.
Yeah. It's, again, I love a crossover. So for Bert and Ernie to make small talk with Doc by talking about words that begin with the letter B. Like, there's
This is
so many
small
good
talk.
gags. But speaking of gags, I think this is the perfect segue into our drinking rules. We're not going to have drinking and smoking rules. We're not going to have a ton, but party favors for you to go off with.
Yeah.
The icy patch. Take a drink every time someone slips on the icy patch.
Oh God. Oh, you'll die. A sip.
A sip. You take a sip.
Yeah. A sip.
Whether it's eggnog, whether it's
yeah.
hot chocolate,
spicy water, beer, whatever you're doing.
There you go.
Ooh, actually. There you go. Put some rum in your hot chocolate. You'll be good. Or don't.
Ooh.
Or don't. Hot chocolate would be great for this movie.
Oh, yeah.
I like that. Okay. So every time somebody slips on the icy patch.
And
I will be honest, I had a similar rule, but mine went a little less hard. I was going to have people drink every time they are reminded of the icy patch. So not every time somebody slips, but every time either Ma Bear, or if you want to go hard, anytime anybody is like, oh, careful of the icy patch. Because that happens significantly less often.
That's true. I have a rare smoking rule, or at least a rare one that makes sense. Take a hit as needed during Fozzie's new act. Hey Ansel, what's a snowman?
No, what's a snowman with you?
I think it really says something about me as a person that one of my earliest comedic influences was Fozzie Bear. It's
yeah.
That's why when I got to go to it was still at midnight at the time. I got to go to a taping of At Midnight, and Fozzie Bear was one of the contestants. I just had the best time. It was so good.
Yeah. And they have such a good time between takes with the Muppets.
Like, oh my God. I love a blooper reel. Not enough things do blooper reels anymore. I keeping it in the Disney family, I did rewatch Hawkeye recently to get into the holiday spirit. But also, Kate Bishop and Yelena are the best.
It's just,
they should get more screen time.
I heard a rumor
everything.
There's going to be another Hawkeye.
Oh,
yeah.
It'd be cool.
I have nothing to follow that up with, but
it would be cool if the next season of Hawkeye just followed Kate in California, like the comics did.
There you go. Yeah.
But why did I bring up Hawkeye? Because there's a gag reel, and it's very funny. And I do have one last rule. Okay. As you know, we do like to pay our respects around here at Time to Party, and obviously, I feel like this is a no-brainer. Take a shot for Jim Henson.
Yeah. Now, I did think, because I had the same rule on my list, I did think that if you're going to take a shot for Jim Henson, it is worth doing it earlier in the movie, just because he shows up so late that, like, at that point you might need to drive home or something. So I think you can take your shot for respect at the moment when you feel the most inspired by the beauty of what Jim Henson brought into this world, rather than waiting for him to physically show up on camera.
Fair enough, because the spirit of Jim Henson is very prominent in the entire thing. And it's Oh god, I just love the Muppets so much. And then Muppets singing songs that we all love.
Ah,
What gets
uh,
what can be better?
you can't beat it. You can't beat it.
If you notice, we barely talked
Ugh.
about the plot of this movie because you don't really need it, right?
I I mean, the plot is more people keep showing up. Like that's the plot.
Yeah.
Or we're worried about Piggy. I mean,
And then there's this
but yeah, it's
subplot where the Swedish chef may or may not try to eat Big Bird, but
yeah, 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 which is a good B plot.
it is.
I think that's the thing that's so beautiful about this is like the the stakes are ridiculously low.
Mm-hmm.
Like and and so low that the only time anybody is actually really worried about them is when Kermit is concerned that Piggy is out in the blizzard. Even the like, oh god, I was supposed to be in Sarasota or wherever it was she was supposed to go. Palm Springs was
Miami.
Palm Springs. Oh right, she was. I kept assuming it was California. Yeah, I'm supposed to be in Miami right now. Even that was immediately like, well, but my kid's here. Screw it.
Parents.
I was supposed to have a quiet Christmas here. Ah, well, who cares? Like, we stopped caring about that conflict so fast.
Yep. And even like, oh, where's everyone gonna sleep? They all figure it out. Clothes hangers on the back of the door.
Mm-hmm.
Which is probably where Gonzo would sleep anyway.
Yeah. He did say that's where he wanted to sleep, so.
So, party people, if you're looking for just a wholesome good time for the whole family, whether it's just yourself or the whole clan, Muppet Family Christmas is probably a safe bet.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
It just,
I want to know if there's a way to find the whole thing without the cutouts. Because where did you watch this? I watched it on YouTube.
I also watched it on YouTube, but that's only because I don't have a working VCR. There are VHS copies of this floating around still. So,
oh, I'm sure.
And the only difference, though, is I believe the VHS copies do not have the Fraggle bit, or
really?
something is cut out of it, and
because there are like 2 or 3 songs that had
where
to
the
be
research
cut out
comes in. It's something like that. Hold on. On screen, yeah. Okay. Muppet Family Christmas has never been released in its entirety on either VHS or DVD in North America. Several songs were licensed specially to only air on TV, so they had to be cut. Let's see. The Snowman and Fozzie's comedy act while singing Sleigh Ride was cut. The Muppet Babies, that's who was cut. The Muppet Babies singing Santa Claus Coming
like
to Town.
Barely in it.
Yes. And then when the Muppets sing Home for the Holidays, that song is cut. So it's interesting because there's multiple versions on YouTube. And I think the best one to watch is the one with the commercials, because like that really shows the whole experience of what aired back in 87. But this is an interesting bit that I completely forgot about until seeing this right now. In the UK, this was the first time they saw Doc with the Fraggles, because in the UK version of Fraggle Rock, Sprocket's owner was a lighthouse keeper, and there were outer space segments instead of like Doc doing stuff. I wonder if there's like a way to watch the UK version of Fraggle Rock.
I mean, I'm sure there is. What a weird choice.
I know. But, weird is nothing new when it comes to the Muppets, right?
Sure, but like Yeah, man. What did Jerry Parks do that he's not allowed to be on BBC? Like,
They're like, this guy? No. Hard pass.
this? Nah, no. Him? No. None of that. No, thank you.
Well, all right, party people. Because during the holidays, we take breaks, and during breaks, there's no homework, so we'll be bringing you more edutainment in the new year. So let your brain have a rest while you're processing all the other weird shit we talk about.
We taught you a bunch about the Muppets, and I think that's plenty.
Absolutely. Well, party people, you could find us on the internet. I'm at bsilverio20 on Instagram and Blue Sky and all that good stuff.
And I am at The Indecisionist on Meta Properties and Blue Sky. You can also check out my free online TTRPG event at ttrpgpickupcon.com. We do it every month, and it's a good time.
You can also join the conversation if the social media platform you're using still has hashtags by using the hashtag time2party. That's time2party.
As well as time2party, all spelled out, thanks to Warwick.
Also, I'd like to extend a birthday greeting to the Big Wick for celebrating the Big 4-0. He's going to cringe at that when he hears this, and that's what I want.
The Big Wick.
If he were here, he'd say, don't call it that.
What is the birth date of the Big Wick? And the rest of him?
And the rest of him. It is November 29th. So we will have just passed this episode. Yeah. It'll be a good... Or, I'm sorry, did I say 29th? I meant 30th. I was just going to say Saturday, and I'm just like, I don't know what the date of Saturday is. It's the 30th. Yeah, that's what it is.
So on the day of release, it was last Saturday.
There you go.
Happy birthday last Saturday.
Party people, keep tuning in this month as we go through a number of our favorite holiday gems. Keep on coming back.
Some old, some new.
Yeah, we're gonna have a holly jolly good time.
That's right.
If you're into that sort of thing. So it's and who isn't? Scrooge, maybe at one point?
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, we wish you a Merry Christmas. We also want you to be excellent to each other.
And party on, dudes.
Good came the on the feast of Stephen.